What up, cappers, gamblers, punters, hustlers, low baggers? Welcome to the Nightly Bag right here on Pub Sports Radio. Man, what a battle. What a battle. What a battle. Well, looking at tonight, we're 6-3 right now in MLB. 6-3 in MLB, which is excellent. Very pleased with that right now. We swept. We went 3-0 on the. Oh, here, let me just pull this up. Here. Actually, I thought I have this up here. Yeah, we do, right? Yes, we went 3-0 on the Cubbies-Washington game. That was extremely enjoyable. Cashing the Nationals first 5, cashing Chicago-Washington first 3 under 2.5, cashing Chicago-Washington full game under 9 was excellent. That was with working with you guys, understanding the situation, seeing how high scoring the other 2 games were. So that's made my day right now because I got off to a terrible start. I lost with the Guardians first 3 and first 5, and then lost the Yankees first 5. The Yankees first 5 was heavily juiced. So was the Guardians first 3. So that was a problem. Reds first 3 pushed. Reds first 5 cashed at plus 110. Pirates first 5 cashed. Boston, Toronto, Blue Jays first 3 under 2.5 cashed, and then those 3 cashed. I've got 3 games left remaining in MLB. In WNBA, the Connecticut Sun was just a horrifying decision to make. And then it looked like everything was going to be fine because the Liberty were up 49-32. And then 59, they were up 67-41. 67-41 going into the fourth quarter. And they'd been outscored by 20 in this fourth quarter. Unbelievable. I mean, just astonishing. So that is not going well. I'm very concerned here. It's a 3-point game now. They've outscored the Liberty by 23 in the fourth quarter. Just horrible. In football, I don't know if you guys saw the Bengals minus 6.5 first half. They're up 10-3, and it's 7 seconds left in intentional grounding. All they had to do was punt the ball. Instead, Josh Johnson wants to perform some sort of third-string sorcery, intentional grounding, turn the ball over. I guess they had 9 seconds or so. 7 seconds when they turned the ball over. All of a sudden, with the grounding penalty, it's just a short run for a Lions field goal. And that stung so badly. So we lose the Bengals first half. We lose the Packers of first half, and I'm just in trouble. But it looks like Colts Patriots under is going to be okay. It looks like the Texans Chargers under is going to be okay. We have the 49ers plus 6.5, and the 49ers team total over 13.5. So they've got a touchdown. They need another touch. So I can pull this out of the fire here. Stampeders are up 15-13 on the Lions. Got the Lions plus 5.5. So I guess when I look over it all, I want to say everything's going to be all right. Is everything going to be all right? I mean, it feels like everything's going to be all right. But good God, is this just so intense? As you guys know. You guys know the battle. But we don't talk about tonight's action on this show. We focus on laying down the foundation for Friday's success. So let's go ahead and attack. I've made 7 bets on the MLB slate, and there's a lot more that I'm really interested in. Josh Witt in the house. Great to see you. We got New Worker, Light Cheese, Wine Time Sports, Nicholas Handy, He No Ball. We got Rob Burke, Angels first 3 and first 5. That is here crucial. So that's all I have left. Angels first 3, Angels first 5 plus half, and then I have the Dodgers money line. I was in this exact same situation with you guys last night. Exact same situation where I was 10-7. I had 3 games left. Looked like I was going to go 2-1 in the games, and then things went wrong. I went 0-3 and ended up 10-10, down 0.98 units. I need to stop that from happening. Rob Burke, it is great to see you. Thank you for joining us. Robert Cherry on his way to Atlantic City. I love it. I'm jealous. Man, bear, pig in the house. War Bucks ready to go, ready to get to work. Thank you guys for joining us. Morgan Spooner, Guillermo Sarducci, 462 for life. Sharpie put the great start by Logan Gilbert in the palm of my hands and all of our hands, and I did not utilize his fantastic work, and I've been beating myself up about that all day. Easy Center Prizes says, good luck, finish up 3-0. I hope so, and thank you for the kind words. Thank you guys for joining us. Okay, I'm a little, look, This is such a battle, dude. It's such a battle. It's such a horrifying battle. But this is the life we dreamt of. This is the life we chose. So let's relish it, cherish it, and let's attack the board. So here we go. Thank you guys for joining us. The Nightly Bag right here on Pub Sports Radio. And I apologize if I seem a little flustered with the thousands of dollars in play right now. We start at 2:20 p.m. Eastern. St. Louis Cardinals at the Chicago Cubs. Cardinals 61-60, 29-26 on the road. These Cubbies. Oh, I wrote down the Cardinals record twice. Got to fix that for tomorrow. We're at Wrigley Field in Chicago, Illinois. Let's get right into Wrigley Field in Chicago, Illinois. We have minus 5% runs, minus 1% homers, minus 15% doubles and triples, and plus 1% singles. Dougie Wise, it's great to see you, Dougie Wise. We've missed you, man. I have moved on the over in this baseball game. The ability for the Cubs to destroy lefties is ever present. And the fact that they got shut down by Cade Cavalli today gave us this, this 8 at a pick'em. Now, I got nervous seeing it. It was lower than what I expected it to drop at. I think Matthew Liberatore is a gas can. He's on the hill for the Cardinals. 5-9, 5.15 ERA, 1.52 whip. He's got a 5.00 expected ERA. Coming off a start at home versus the Rockies, he allowed 5 earned runs over 5 innings. He shut down the Blue Jays, but the Blue Jays can't hit lefties. So, yeah, he can shut down Blue Jays. He just saw the Cubs in a run-suppressing environment. Now, I know the wind isn't blowing out of Wrigley tomorrow, but he just saw the Cubs in a run-suppressing environment and made it through 3 2/3. They got 8 hits on them. Why is this going to be any different? Why is it Nate? Now, we'll look over at the lines, and hopefully it's moving towards the over. There was many books that didn't have the total available. Bet365 had the 8. Penny had the 8. Penny was minus 108 to the over. I put it at minus 110 so I could list the pitchers. We have Clay Holmes on the other side. Clay Holmes been around for a long time, and he was a reliever for a long time and became a starter. He's a very talented pitcher. 2.86 ERA, 1.16 whip, 4.22 expected ERA. But he was on the shelf for a long time with that fractured tibia. A long, long time. He had a start on May 15th, and his next start was Saturday, August 8th. Spooner says Cubs don't hit ground ball lefties that well. They thrive on plate discipline to get on. Then they hit a double play. Sounds like a frustrated Cubs fan after watching Cade Cavalli shut them down. So we didn't see Clay Holmes pitch from May 15th until he came back August 8th as a Chicago Cub, no longer a New York Met. He went 4 innings. He allowed 4 earned runs, 1 strikeout, 2 walks, 6-3 loss at the Royals. It was not impressive. Now, I'm sure he's a veteran pitcher who can turn it on. I'm sure he can. But why would the Cubs not be able to get to him? Why get the Liberatore? And why would the Cardinals not be able to touch him up? Yeah, you could say, look, the Cardinals aren't hitting. Either are the Royals. And the Cards are actually hitting a fine average against righties. They just have no power whatsoever. But let's talk about the bullpens. Cubbies' bullpen looks very good. 2.99 ERA, 1.17 whip. The Cards' bullpen has been bad. 4.55 ERA, 1.43 whip. And then here is the stat that I just couldn't get past. The Phillies are hitting .315 with a .922 OPS the last 30 days versus a lefty. They just got roughed up by Cade Cavalli. Matthew Liberatore is going to look like a beach ball coming at them. The Cards are not, have no power. We know that they have no power at all against righties, but 254, 666 OPS over the last 30 days. So let's get into the line history here for this one and discuss, if I should be nervous, if I should be uncomfortable. Let's also pull up the cash flow, even though I don't care that much about it, but let's pull it up just so we do our due diligence. I mean, when we were working together on that Cubs game, the cash flow certainly helped very, very much lead me to a big score. Let's talk about the line history here. Let me just move over to Friday, and here we go. So line history-wise, we have the lines moved slightly towards the Cards from plus 167 to plus 158. So it's a slight move towards the Cards. From a total perspective here, we have 8s. eights. Heritage has this at minus 112. The Heritage moved this. I didn't realize this at 7 p.m. up to minus 117. So they opened this up juice to the under. They moved it 10 cents to the over. Well, that would have been heaven if we were sitting here with that, but there's been 5 cents of buyback. So maybe I'm falling for a trap here. Josh Witt's going to be on the under 8. Maybe I'm falling for a trap here, but look, I'll fall for it. The Cubs are annihilating lefties, and Liberatore is ripe to get molested. I don't know if molested was the term I was looking for. Touched. That's a little better than molested. All right, let's roll on. I'm on the over 8 in game 1. Cardinals, Cubbies at 2:20 p.m. We have Josh Witt on the under 8. Cincy Tino liking the Cards. Let's move on. 6:10 p.m. Eastern with the Miami Marlins, 62-59, 24-35 on the road at the Cincinnati Reds, 57-62, 29-31 at home. We're at Great American Ballpark in Cincinnati, Ohio. Look, I was messaging back and forth with Spoons about this game, and he was like, look, it's Sandy Alcantara and Chase Burns. And I was like, look, this is heaven. This is why. I mean, this is just going to be so much fun to watch. Let's talk about the weather here to get started at Great American Ballpark. I haven't moved on this game. We have plus 19% runs, plus 20% homers, plus 6% doubles and triples, and plus 6% singles. We have Sandy Alcantara, 13-6, 3.52 ERA, 1.17 WHIP, 3.63 expected ERA. He's been unbelievable. Again, we've seen this before this year. He did this earlier this year. When did he do it? I guess right off the hop. But he didn't go three straight scoreless starts. There's our guy Big Show Picks in the house. Shout out to Pub Sports MMA. We have three straight scoreless starts for him. July 28th, 7 innings, no earned runs, and a 1-0 win at home versus the Phillies. August 2nd, 6 innings, no earned runs, 2-0 win at the Mets. And then Saturday, August 8th, 7 innings, 8 Ks, 1 walk, and a 7-0 win at home versus the Angels. This is dominance right now. Let's talk about Chase Burns, 13-2, 2.61 ERA, 1.12 WHIPs, got a 3.20 expected ERA. Last time we saw, so first off, Chase Burns skipped the All-Star game. He was selected because he had a tight right groin after his start on July 8th. He came back on July 21st and pitched fine, but he's not been going deep in the games. He went 5 innings, didn't allow a run in that start. His second start, he went 5 innings, allowed 1 earned run in a 6-5 loss at home to the Guardians. Then August 2nd, 1 earned run over 6 innings, and a 10-2 win at home versus the Pirates. And then this last start, 5 earned runs over 5 1/3 and 8-2 loss at the Nationals. So we've seen him come back from whatever was going on with the, with the right groin strain. Not a strain, but it wasn't quite a strain. We have seen him pitch in a run-suppressing ballpark in Seattle and shove. We have seen him pitch very well at home, and then he gets lit up on the road. So, why wouldn't we expect him to pitch really well here? Let's talk about these bullpens. Reds bullpen, 3.74 ERA, 1.19 WHIP. Marlins bullpen, 4.30 ERA, 1.36 WHIP. They're both serviceable at this point. When it comes to the sticks, Marlins versus righties, 245, 724 OPS. Reds versus righties, 219, 714 OPS. So neither team is hitting very hard. Jerry Davis, AM, great to have you guys. Thank you for joining us. Neither team is hitting very hard. The bullpens are serviceable, mediocre, and we have 2 starting pitchers that are elite. Let's take a look at this total. It's 7.5 minus 120 to the over. 7.5 minus 120 to the over. This has been available since 1:30 p.m. at BetOnline. It's not moved a cent. We go to Heritage. Heritage opened this up at an 8. It's been sitting there. So you can get right now an under 8 at minus 120 or an over 7.5 at minus 120. Let's get to the money line here. On the money line situation, we've got a 4-cent move towards Chase Burns from minus 105 to minus 109. Shout out to Top Set and Jermaine joining us. When we take a look at the cash or the price difference, I should say, for Marlins Reds, the Reds are minus 110 full game. And then first 5, they're minus 117. It's interesting. There's no perceived advantage with Sandy Alcantara. He's a plus 100 first 5 and a plus 100 full game. So that is where we stand. Let's take a look at the cash flow for this spot. We're not going to get much information on a bunch of these games. We do know that there's 94% of tickets and 88% cash on the Cubs, but there's a few games where we'll get this information. I don't care that much about the information. You want the market to be marinating for longer if you want to really, pay it a lot of thought. When it's all said and done here, I like the under. I can get past this very offensive conditions. I can do all that here. Why don't we take a quick look at what the first three is? First three. Sorry, the live action flashed in front of me. I'm trying so hard not to focus on all of this action. We have here the first three under. So this is a flat 8 right now at Bet365. Wow. I've not seen a flat 8 anywhere yet. All of these are minus 120 to the under. So wow, that is a surprise. So this should just be minus 120 each way on the first three. And it's minus 160 to the under 2.5 on a flat 8. Wow. Well, you know what? That's extremely expensive in this kind of weather. Extremely expensive. Why would that be a flat 8? Why would it be moving to the over? I don't feel like these bullpens are that vulnerable. Obviously, it'll be easier to hit the bullpens it is to hit Sandy Alcantara and Chase Burns. I'm going to need to sit with this for longer. I am astonished that Bet365 has an 8 at a flat 8. I'm astonished. I'm also a little surprised that it's that expensive for the 2.5. I assume if this is going to be a flat 8, that this will, move 10 cents or so, 15 cents to the over. I assume that we'll see a, first three under 2.5 at like minus 145 tomorrow. Swiggy says the other books do have the 8, but I don't see any at a flat minus 110 each way. Wow. Wild stuff. Okay, I've got a lot to think about for my Marlins Reds. We have so much to cover because we got 3 games in NFL, 3 games in CFL, and we also have the 2 WNBA games at the end of the show. So we got to not hem and haw too much. Let's move on to our next spot on the board here, 6:40 p.m. Eastern. And Spooner said the first 3 I saw at the first book I couldn't bet was minus 130. Now the best first 3 under 2.5 is minus 160. And Spooner saying the bullpens are suspect. Let's talk about the Boston Red Sox, Pittsburgh Pirates. We're at PNC Park in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And the Pittsburgh Pirates coming off a very comfortable victory today. We have Jake Bennett going up against Bubba Chandler. PNC Park plus 1% runs, minus 16% homers, plus 14% doubles and triples, and plus 1% singles. Look, Jake Bennett, who has been so good this year, he was dominant in Worcester, second-round pick in the 2022 draft by the Nationals at the University of Oklahoma. He has been, we hold these pitchers at a higher level, right? We hold them to some of these, but like I see Jake Bennett and I think this guy's just such a great young pitcher. And so I look at these last 4 starts and I think that they're mediocre, but they're better than that. If we go back to July 22nd, so the first start after the All-Star break, he shoved. That's going back 5 starts. No earned runs over 6 innings at home versus Rays. Then he allows 3 earned runs over 5 2/3 at home versus the Orioles. They win the game. He gets the job done. Then he has those games versus the Athletics against Gage Jump, which were so much fun to cap. And that first game, the 4-3 loss at the Athletics, was capped beautifully by Spoons. And he got outpitched by Gage Jump, but he had a quality start, 3 earned runs over 6 1/3. Next start, 3 earned runs over 5 2/3 at the Dodgers. When I see these numbers, I think to myself, wow, he's not pitching at the level he was pitching at before. But, he's an out away from a quality start at Chavez Ravine, which is very difficult, even if they're not hitting as well as they have been hitting. And then Saturday, August 8th, he sees the Athletics for a second time, and they touch him up. So now he gets to see a team in the Pittsburgh Pirates who have not seen him. And these Pirates are not hitting lefties at all. Their stats versus lefties is plummeting. So I think that Jake Bennett can have a bounce back start here. Bubba Chandler. We've talked so much about Bubba Chandler this year. 4.26 ERA, 1.38 with 4.11 expected ERA. I've watched him so closely. And when I've watched him, he looked a little flustered. He didn't look like the bulldog that we expected him to be, the bulldog that struck out 31 in 31 in the third when he came up last year for a short stint. Not only did he strike out 31, 31, 30, he only walked 4 batters. He just didn't have that confidence. We saw him struggling at the end of May into June. He just didn't look very good. It maybe came to a head June and July. He had another situation where he allowed 9 earned runs, 13 hits over 10 in the third combined, and 2 bad starts. And then he has turned it around. He is looking like that guy again. It started with his first start after the All-Star break. It was in New York at Yankee Stadium. He went 6 in the third, didn't allow a run. Then he came home and the Diamondbacks got to him. His next start was at Milwaukee, very tough place to pitch, and he pitched well there. And then the piece de resistance was that last start at home versus the Mets. He looked dynamite. I think Bubba Chandler is back. I think that Bennett can shut down this Pirates team that can't hit lefties. When we get to the bullpens, these are very trustworthy bullpens. The Pirates bullpen's been pitching much, much better. 3.30 ERA, 1.31 WHIP. You could say that the Red Sox bullpen has been worse of late, and that was valid. But they still have a 2.19 ERA and a 1.01 WHIP over the last 30 days. And then when it comes to the sticks, the Red Sox are still hitting righties. 271, 807 OPS. The Pirates versus lefties is abysmal. Over the last 30 days, they're hitting 218 with a 599 OPS. That is horrific. So I moved on 2 bets here. I moved on Boston, Pittsburgh, first 3 under 2.5. And I moved on Boston, Pittsburgh, full game over 8. Yeah, AM, it was just insane and horrible for me. But, these things happen. But it was insane. So I'm comfortable with the spot. Let's take a look at the line history. I like where I stand. When we go into the line history here, we've had a 10-cent move towards Bennett. I think that is really with the inability of the Pirates to hit lefties. When we get to the total in this spot, we have an 8 minus 115 to the under. This opened up at 8.5 minus 120 to the under. Would have loved to have got there earlier. And I could have. This didn't move to an 8 until 4:54 p.m. It's just that in my head, when I was building my worksheet, I was sitting there thinking that Bennett had not been looking good. It wasn't until I started diving into those starts where I was like, I'm being way too hard on Jake Bennett. And by that time, it had moved to an 8. So I doubled up on this spot. First 3 under 2.5, full game under 8. Mark Sasowski says his model has 8.48 runs. Makes me a little nervous, but I'm in business. Oh, okay, sorry, no worries. Jerry Davis is going to be on the Red Sox -1 here, and the shotgun play of the day from Ron Crawford is in, and it is backing Jake Bennett and the Boston Red Sox here. So shotgun play of the day is in, and it is the Boston Red Sox. And shout out to our guy Ronnie Crawford. All right, let's get this all copied and pasted. Shotgun play of the day is in. And I have to look at the action, man. I have too much money invested in these games. Let me just take a little peek at what's going on here. So we got bottom of the first, 2 out. We got 2 men on for the Angels. I like that. Dodgers Brewers finishes 0-0 after the first inning. We have the Aces up 9 on the Mystics. Patriots 13-10 with a couple minutes left. Colts have the ball. Interesting, but that under looks comfortable. I need the Raiders to not score anymore and just that game to fall asleep. I need that same thing to happen in the Chargers-Texans game. I need the 49ers to score here, and I think everything's going to be okay. All right, let's roll on to our next spot on the board. And after our double up, we have White Sox, Detroit Tigers. I thought that it was going to be Jose Urquidy pitching here for the White Sox, but it is Sean Newcomb who will be pitching. I just want to get an idea of what if they have a plan here. Just give me one second to see if there is a plan, because I had expected that Urquidy was going to be at least the primary, and I think that's fair to say that he will be the primary. We shall see. Damn, that's too bad, Man Bear Pig. I still think that we should be in business in that game, but I needed points there. So I think that Newcomb will be the opener, and then that Jose Urquidy is going to be in. So let's just talk a couple things here. Urquidy hasn't pitched in the big league since April 13th. Now, Newcomb's been great, so Newcomb can get through an inning and handle it fine. And if it is Urquidy, he hasn't pitched in the big league since April 13th when he was pitching for the Pirates. He looked terrible in 6 1/3 innings for the Pirates. They sent him down to AAA Indianapolis, and then he pitched very well. So the White Sox saw him. He had 3.66 ERA, 1.05 WHIP. He looked excellent through 83 2/3. Nice K to walk ratio. So he was picked up by the White Sox. They put him to AAA Charlotte. AAA Charlotte. He had 3 starts there, and he was, kept pitching well. 12 innings, 2.25 ERA, 1.08 WHIP. And so I expect it to go to Urquidy after Newcomb, and we will see. Then we have Jackson Jobe, the 3rd overall pick in the 2021 draft at Heritage Hall High School in Oklahoma City. And, of course, he had Tommy John surgery in May of 2025, and he looked incredible in his rehab outings. This guy's just an absolute monster. I mean, he's throwing 100. So we know that he's recovered the arm strength without an issue, which most do. And on Saturday, August 8th, the first start of the year, he was excellent at the Giants. I don't see any reason why he wouldn't be excellent again. Keith, thank you for joining us. So Jackson Jobe is an absolute beast. Another reason why they thought that, they could move on from Scooball and Casey Mize. Let's talk about the bullpens. Both are pitching at a high level. Tigers bullpen 3.29 ERA, 1.26 WHIP. White Sox bullpen 3.41 ERA, 1.24 WHIP. And then the biggest difference between these two teams right now is the Tigers are hitting. 287, 831 OPS. They are hitting. White Sox versus righties, 218, 674 OPS. They are doing the opposite. Let's take a look at the line history here for this spot. We have an 8.5 minus 120 to the over. No movement there. And when we get to the money line here for this one, we have a 10-cent move. Oh, no move. Excuse me. Sorry, a no move. This just became available about an hour and 10 minutes ago. The White Sox bullpen is good. And Jackson Jobe is good. If Jose Urquidy comes in after Newcomb, I think, I'm interested in the under. I didn't realize that I was. I'm also interested in backing the Tigers, but I'm interested in the under. I think it's worth moving on. Comerica Park even for runs, minus 7% homers, plus 5% doubles and triples, and plus 3% singles. So I'm going to sit with this for longer because we need to know if Urquidy is going to be the primary. And I actually want Urquidy. I want him to get a chance to throw in the major league level. So I have interest in the under, and I have interest in the Tigers, but they're very expensive. It would have to be a -1 line. And I guess I'm okay with that. I'm going to have to sit with that a little bit longer. That is the plan right now for White Sox Tigers here. Josh Witt says that under 8.5 is plus 100 on Fanatics. I would like to know what their plan is after Newcomb. So I imagine that I'll wait until I have that information or if I can find it. So that's the plan there for White Sox Tigers. Let's roll on. Next spot on the board, 7:10 p.m. Eastern. The Baltimore Orioles, 58-63, 26-33 on the road. At the Tampa Bay Rays, 74-46, 41-18 at home. We are at the Trop in St. Petersburg, Florida. There's conflicting reports as to who is pitching in this game. Some sites have Kyle Bradish with Steven Matz. Now, Steven Matz pitched yesterday, and he just threw an inning. He would just okay. Thank you for the heads up, Monster T. Nerfy just hit in the Angels game. So, and Jerry Davis says Detroit, same script as Pirates with lefties, but Torres and Bay starting to bounce that lineup, so maybe not quick to fade them going forward against left-handed pitching. Well, don't worry about Newcomb. He's going to be there for 1 inning. So let's worry about who comes in after that. I didn't So let's just see what their plan is. But Newcomb will be there for 5 batters. So, but that's important, Jerry. And thank you for sharing that. So here we go. Some sites say Kyle Bradish. Let's see what RotoWire says right now for this one. They've got Chris Bassett. So the Kyle Bradish. So when I was looking up, the most sites had Kyle Bradish. Let's see if CBS Sports is going to say that Bassett is coming up to start and just ready to rejoin the rotation. Oh no, he's not. He can't go. Right? That was. Oh no, that was Friday. Sorry, they sent this into us on August 11th. Okay, so that was Friday. Okay, so it's Bassett or Bradish. Let's wait before we put too much time into it. I don't want to put too much study into what Bassett has done, but it's pretty simple. I mean, it doesn't take much. He has had 13 2/3 of rehab starts at Norfolk, and he has a 1.98 ERA, 0.88 WHIP, struck out 12 and walked 4. So we'll see. Bassett starting one of these games, Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. And then here we have Bradish, who is looking very good. That last start at the Rangers was a thing of beauty. If you look through his last 5 starts, he had a bad start at Detroit. But other than that, he actually had a bad start at home to the Philadelphia Phillies. That was a bounce-back start at the Rangers. I do trust him more than I trust Chris Bassett, but I think it's pretty easy to say that, you trust the $90 million, Kyle Bradish over old man Bassett coming in off the IL. So let's just move on to our expectation here. We have Steven Matz, 5-4, 5.46 ERA, 5.12 expected ERA. He'll just be there for 1 inning. And then we expect Jesse Schultens to be the primary. And he hasn't pitched in the majors since May 25th. He's recovering from a right wrist strain. And that's a tough one to come back to. He has not allowed a run in his last 10 2/3 rehab innings. The reason why I think I might be able to move past that is because he didn't look good at first in his rehab outings. So because of this 10 2/3 scoreless, if you look at his first 13 innings of rehab, he looked bad. So I'm going to have to sit with this for longer and make a real decision as to whether or not I think that I can get back. Because generally, if a pitcher shoves in his rehab starts, he's perfect in his rehab starts, we want to fade him. And Jesse Schultens is a 32-year-old journeyman. He's a vet. I know he hasn't been in the majors for very long, but he's earned these opportunities. So, again, we'll have to wait and see what the hell's going on in this baseball game. We don't need to put too much time into it. Obviously, we know the Rays bullpen's been excellent. Orioles bullpen's been pretty good. Rays bullpen 3 ERA, 0.9 WHIP, 9.3 WHIP last 30 days. Orioles bullpen 3.81 ERA, 1.32 WHIP. Orioles are smashing lefties and not touching righties at all, which would make Steven Matz not the right opener for Jesse Schultens. But we'll see how they decide that. And the Rays are really attacking righties. So whether it's Bassett or Bradish, it won't be an easy opportunity for them. Again, we need more information as to who will be starting, so we'll move on from here. I almost doubled up on our next game, but I did something that made me kind of nervous. I was going to do my regular double up. First 3 under, full game under in Padres Guardians. And I sat there because I would need the first 3 under too. It's very, very expensive, first 3 under. And I made a questionable decision. You guys know that I've been really, last year I completely got away from first 5 unders and focused on the first 3s. And that led to a really nice, much improved ROI on those angles of the early unders. And then this year I've slightly been bringing back in the first 5s. I wanted the first 5 under 4 at minus 115. I think I got minus 115. More than I wanted the first 5 under 2. The first 5 under 2.5, I could have got it minus 145. Look, I'm not going to be betting minus 145. That's under 2.5. So I could have got the first 3 under 2 at plus 104. And I decided instead on the first 5 under 4. So I've doubled up here, first 5 under 4, and the full game under 7.5. I got the first 5 under 4 at minus 109. It was minus 109 at Penny. It was minus 115 at 365. Took the minus 109. Can't list the pitchers at Penny, so you have to take that risk. Progressive Field in Cleveland, Ohio, and we have plus 4% runs, minus 3% homers, plus 7% doubles and triples, and even 4 singles. We have Michael King on the hill, 7 and 8, 3.37 ERA, 1.17 WHIPs, got a 4.40 expected ERA. Michael King is a talented pitcher. He's a vet, and he had a couple tough starts. One was in the thin air Colorado, 4 runs over 6 innings. Thin air Colorado's tough. And then the next start was 3 runs over 5 innings at the Diamondbacks. Diamondbacks are really starting to hit right now. He bounced back at home versus the Astros. I want him at home way more than I want him on the road. We don't really see there's not extreme splits or anything we need to worry about too much. But he was rolling coming into those, questionable starts, July 28th and July 30th. That first start after he was rolling coming into the All-Star break, quality start after quality start. And then first start after the All-Star break, 1 earned run over 5 innings at the Royals, 1 earned run over 6 innings at the Braves. And then that's when he got touched up in Colorado and Arizona, and then bounced back at home versus the Astros. I like him, but he's not just lights out dominant. He's a veteran savvy pitcher. Gavin Williams on the other side, 11 and 6, 3.55 ERA, 1.04 WHIP, 3.74 expected ERA. Jerry Davis says the Padres are enticing at plus money, and he no ball is on the Padres and a touchdown from the Lions. I love to hear that. So let's talk about Gavin Williams. Last start was okay, 2 earned runs over 5 2/3. But I realize again, similar with Jake Bennett, that was a good start. He's 1 out away from a quality start. Why am I just, I hold some of these guys to a higher level. I have higher expectations for them. And he was delivering for those higher expectations. He had a bad start after the All-Star break, and then he looked excellent. At home versus the Twins, no runs over 7 innings, struck out 11. Then he took it one step further, struck out 12 over 7 innings in a 2-0 loss at the Reds. He allowed 2 earned runs in that one. And then he had back-to-back double-digit strikeout starts. I think he is very talented. We all do. We all think Gavin Williams is very good, and we want to back Gavin Williams at home. You can see the splits there from our graphics. When we get to the bullpens, the Guardians' bullpen is not being good. It's been tricky to understand why they haven't been good. 4.90 ERA, 1.49 WHIP. This is the time of year where they usually step up, and maybe we got to not have the bias that we have with that spectacular run they went on last year around this time. Padres bullpen is back to being lights out. 3.23 ERA, 1.16 WHIP. They are a bet on bullpen. And then when it comes to the sticks, Padres are raking right now. 281, 829 OPS. And the Guardians are not. 257, 12 OPS. So I could understand why this would bring you towards the Padres. I can. Now I've got the unders. Let's see if there's enough correlating here for me to join you guys. We've had a 2-cent move to the Padres at BetOnline. Interestingly enough, this went from plus 113 to plus 122 and then back to plus 111. So there has been some volatility. From a total standpoint here, we have a 7.5 minus 125 to the under. That's where it opened, was 7.5 minus 125 to the over, to the under, excuse me. So let's take a look at the price difference here. Let's see if the books are saying that there is an advantage here with one of these pitchers first 5. We have the Guardians minus 125 full game. The first 5 minus 134. So they're saying that, of course, Gavin Williams, there's an advantage over Michael King. And with this all said and done here, I don't want to fade Gavin Williams at home. I don't want to fade him. I could understand why this is enticing. We could take a look at the cash flow and see what they're saying. Cash flow wise here, we have, or if they're going to give us the information here, we have interleague action, 53% of the tickets on Cleveland, 77% of the cash on the Padres. So they're big bets coming in on the Padres. 87% of tickets on the over and 91% of cash on the over. Well, I'm messing with that. Rob Free says very difficult to pass on the Padres with plus money. I get it. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I'm just not going to fade Gavin Williams at home. But you have the right team. And Michael King's a strong starter. Cleveland is a spreadsheet play for Ronnie Crawford. Not the play of the day, but it is a spreadsheet play. I'm comfortable with where I stand. I'm not going to get in the way of Gavin Williams here. Last time he was home, he struck out 10, didn't allow a run versus the Diamondbacks. The start before that, he was at home. He doesn't allow a run over 7 innings and 11 strikeouts versus the Twins. So his last 2 starts at home, he's gone 12 and 2/3, and he's allowed 3 hits. Again, I understand it's plus money here for you. And Mark's his house because he likes Cleveland early here with the rest and travel advantage, and he likes Gavin at home. So I've got the unders here. I could add the Guardians' first 5 because it's expensive, but it's not at a point where you need to take a -0.5. Maybe it's too expensive. I don't want to be sitting here with these -130s. It's a -134. And the Padres are hitting. So, let's just, because the Gavin Williams at home, he shut down the Diamondbacks. They're hitting, not like the Padres. Okay, I'm going to keep looking at that Padres first 5. And, Guardians first 5. I'll keep looking at Guardians first 5. Okay. All right, let's roll on. Next spot on the board for 7:10 p.m. Eastern, Washington Nationals at the New York Mets. Nationals 59-63, 33-27 on the road. Mets 53-69, 25-34 at home, Citi Field in Queens, New York. We have -10% runs, -4% homers, -21% doubles and triples, -5% singles. I can't help it. You guys know that I've got this weird compassion for these journeyman bums like Robert Stock. I don't know why. I don't know why I see the glass as half full with these journeyman vets. If I didn't, I'd already be on the Nationals. You have Andrew Alvarez on the hill, 2-3, 3.76 ERA, 1.40 whips, got a 4.34 expected ERA. And he's pitching really well right now. Really well. His first start after the All-Star break, 3 earned runs over 4 1/3, wasn't great. They got the win, and that was in the thin air of Colorado, which isn't easy. His next start, at home versus the Jays, he again only made it through 4 1/3. He wasn't going deep in the games. He only allowed 1 run to the Jays. Jays can't hit lefties, so we don't need to put too much of that. It's these last 2 starts I was really impressed with. August 3rd, 6-3 loss at the Phillies, but he only allowed 2 earned runs over 6 1/3. He looked very good against them. And then August 8th at home versus the Reds, 1 earned run over 5 1/3. I was impressed. I was very, very, very impressed. Oh, Ronnie, please, God. That my whole night is wrapped up in that. Oh, God. Angels 1-0. Oh, monster. You tell the most beautiful stories. God damn. Okay, so Andrew Alvarez pitching at a very high level. Let's talk about Robert Stock. All right. So he was pitching for Team Israel, and he had shoulder discomfort, and then he needed surgery. We should go over the whole all of Robert Stock. He had a cup of coffee in Major League Baseball last year. But before that, we hadn't seen him since 2021. But we've barely seen Robert Stock. This was a second-round, 36-year-old Robert Stock. Second-round pick in 2009 out of USC. Oh, man. Imagine what he thought his career was going to look like. Coming out of USC as a second-round pick in 2009. Probably thought, I'm going to have this monster career. He's throwing 83 innings in Major League Baseball. 83 innings. So he went to Korea. He did what you have to do to get an opportunity to pitch. And I don't know why I start waxing about these 36. Maybe because I'm 46 myself. I can't explain why I have a soft spot for these guys. But I do. He didn't pitch long in Korea, right? Because he's pitched in Mexico. He's pitched in a whole bunch of leagues. But he only pitched for Doosan for 1 year. He was pretty good there. Okay, had a very high whip. So we saw him in 2025. He got 2 2/3. They let him pitch 2 2/3 for the Boston Red Sox. Before that, we hadn't seen him since 2021. Okay, we don't need to talk about him too much, but he's a clear journeyman. So then he gets a chance to pitch Major League Baseball because the Mets, trade a bunch of their arms away, and they have thrown in the white flag. So we see him Sunday, August 2nd. He goes 5 innings. He allows 3 hits, 1 earned run. It was a solo shot. Doesn't walk a batter in a 2-0 loss at home versus the Marlins. We know what we do with these journeyman bums. We fade them in their first road start after a good home start. And Saturday, August 8th, he allowed 8 earned runs over 3 innings and a 9-0 loss to the Pirates. The Pirates aren't hitting, but they could get to Stock. So what the hell does Stock do here? He's coming back home. We know he's going to be disrespected by the gambling public, and they have every right to do that. And he's coming back home where we just saw him shut down the Marlins. Now, the Nats are hitting 278, 22 OPS first righties. They feel good after Cade Cavalli's incredible start against the Cubbies today. So they come over. They go to New York feeling good about themselves. The Mets are also hitting lefties hard, 259, 800 OPS. When we get to the bullpens, the Mets bullpen being very good, 2.78 ERA, 1.21 WHIP. Now it's slipping after, they did move some talent out. The Nats bullpen, 4.17 ERA, 1.32 WHIP. Keith, just the truth, says Nats team total over, says if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Let's get into the line history here. We'll start with the total. This total opened up at 9 and moved to 8.5. Now it is juiced to the over, but there are a couple offshores that have it juiced to the under. Not very reputable ones. From a money line standpoint here, we have a 2-cent move to the New York Mets from -115 to -117. So let's go immediately to Pinnacle and see what their thoughts are here. We have, if they're going to make the Mets more expensive first 5. The Mets are -119 full game, and first 5 they're -119. So you have Alvarez pitching better than he's pitched all year, going up against Robert Stock, 36-year-old Robert Stock, and Mets are -119 full game first 5. The Nats are +108 full game, first 5 +102. More vig on the first 5s. And the very simple thing to do here would be just to fade Stock and to back Alvarez and back the Nationals. And maybe that's how we should handle it. 65% of the tickets have come in on the Mets and just 30% of the cash. I need to sit with this for longer. Spooner says, for being a washed-up old guy, he's got good stuff. Hits 97 to 82, 3 fastballs, a sweeper, and a change. He's pitched very well his one start at home. We know he's on borrowed time. It's easy to romanticize these situations. So I need more time with this baseball game. I need more time with it. Let's roll on. 7:15 p.m. Eastern. Next spot on the board, Arizona Diamondbacks at Atlanta Braves. And my guy, Brandon PFAATD. Did I say that wrong? PFAADT. Brandon fought, man. Good God, has he been spectacular. Oh, wonderful. It's been so nice to see. So he came up from the minors, and I told you guys that they'd won his first 8 starts. Well, they finally lost. The monster. I love it. Brandon fought. They lost the start to Brandon Fought. A 2-1 extra inning loss over versus the Dodgers. It wasn't on Fought. I know, Spooner. I know you don't like it. But good God, is he pitching well. So he's not allowed more than 2 earned runs in a start since he's come back up from the minors. He is not allowed a run in his last 3 starts, not 1 run. There's nothing you can do, Spoons. Can't run from PFAADT. He's pitching at a very, very high level. His last 20 2/3, covering 3 starts, he allows 13 hits, 0 earned runs. He's just pitching very, very well. That's wonderful news, Ronnie. And we cashed the Raiders team total under. Now we're starting to get these winners coming in. I still can't believe that I lost the Bengals first half. But that's wonderful news, Ronnie. So, look, you guys know that Fought's been keeping my family together. I mean, what do you want me to say? He's been making me money every 5 days. and lots of it. And I've been doubling down on them. We have Chris Sale on the other hand. Spooner says, trying to clean his ears after hearing the fought nonsense. God, he's pitching so good. Nothing you can do about it. 8 starts since he's come back from the minors, and he's allowed 7 earned runs. 7 earned runs in 8 starts? Come on, man. Going up against Chris Sale, 12-7, 2.20 ERA, 1.02 WHIP, 3.11 expected ERA. And Sale's being very good. That last start, he did allow 3 earned runs over 6 innings in the 5-4 loss of the Yankees. He's allowed 3 earned runs in 2 of his last 3 starts. So, I mean, maybe you could say he hasn't been quite as dominant, but he also hasn't been at home very much. Now, he was at home versus the Padres. That was last time we saw him at home, was July 23rd. And he allowed those 3 earned runs. He left 1 ball up. I think there was an infield single and like a walk, and he left the ball up, 3-run home run. We all immediately piled in and live bet the Braves because he was going up against Gas Canning was the primary in that start, and it was glorious. So I think we can put a line through that first inning because he didn't allow another run through the next 5 innings. And if you look at the start before that versus the Rangers at home, doesn't allow a run over 7 innings. He did allow 3 over 5 at home versus the Mets. That was a couple days before. Oh, God. Keep these winners rolling in, AM. Catch the under there. Beautiful, beautiful. So, look, we know who Chris Sale is. I don't need to dive into it too much. He's a beast. 2.20 ERA, 1.02 WHIP, 3.11 expected ERA. So let's talk about the bullpens. Braves bullpen has looked very mediocre. 4.84 ERA, 1.43 WHIP. Diamondbacks bullpen, 4.41 ERA, 1.38 WHIP. Both have looked mediocre. When it comes to the sticks, the Diamondbacks are hitting lefties very hard. 304, 862 OPS over the last 30 days. The Braves are hitting righties very hard. The Braves aren't hitting lefties at all, but they're hitting righties, 257, 782 OPS. Braves are numbers versus righties have dropped. That's just open. I guess we don't have the listed pitchers because we didn't have a line for this for so long. But we've had Fought and Sale. So let's just see what the line is now. See if we got this up. We heard that this line was now up, Fought and Sale. I'm going to refresh this. See if we got more books coming out with it. I had seen what the money line was. I just hadn't seen the total. Okay, I still haven't seen the total. This opened up minus 180 for Sale. It's now minus 195. And then from a total perspective here, we have a 7.5. All right, so let's take a look and see if it's up at Penny. Do they have this up now? And they don't. So, we're going to have to be patient. But, obviously, I'm very interested in Fought first 3. See if we can get a plus a half but also I'll wait for all the money to come in on Sale. Shout out to AOD in the house. Sharpie says, Diamondbacks take pitches. You can't do that versus Sale, who's in the zone better than league average, uses 3 pitches equally and strikes you out 44% of the time in a 2-strike count. So I know what I want to do here. I hear AM on the over, so, it's hot Atlanta and the wind's blowing out. So it's plus 4% runs, plus 11% homers, minus 7% doubles and triples, and plus 4% singles. If it's weather only at Truist, it's plus 8% runs and plus 13% homers. So, we're dealing with this in the Alcantara Chase Burns start, very offensive weather. We're dealing with it here in the Fought versus Chris Sale start. And it's going to take a lot of time and thought and study if you do want unders in these conditions. And we want to see what the market is doing. And I wouldn't be on any full game unders. I would just be focusing on Fought and Sale, which is what I plan to do. So I'm interested in first 3 and first 5 unders. Again, I'd be probably more comfortable waiting and just seeing if there's movement towards the over. And then I'm interested in what I imagine with the way Fought's pitching that they'll price us out of the first 3 plus a half. Well, they certainly can't put prices out of the first 5 plus a half. So we'll go from there. Let's roll on here. And Spooner says that they're scared of the Sharps fading Brandon. Yes, those Sharps have lost buckets of cash fading PFAADT. T. The Fontinator. All right, let's roll on. We need to study that longer, but I have a plan. Let's go into New York Yankees, Toronto Blue Jays, Rogers Center, Toronto, Ontario. You know who's going to be drunk at that game? Myself. God, I cannot wait to be at this game, man. I cannot wait to be at this game. Just take a second to relax for a bit. Enjoy life. Garrett Cole versus Shane Bieber. This is a Friday night in Toronto, sold out Yankees Jays. God, I'm so excited. I am so excited. I'm so excited. I need it bad, man. Just the stress. It's getting to me. We have Garrett Cole. Oh, first off, the weather. Minus 3% runs, plus 5% homers, plus 2% doubles, triples, minus 5% singles. We have Garrett Cole, 6-5, 3.35 ERA, 1.08 whips, got a 3.45 expected ERA. I think that Garrett Cole is easy to cap. It's going to be sold out on a Friday night, and he's going to pitch really well. It's not a big game, but it's going to feel like it. Look, the Blue Jays are gone. They're done, but it's going to feel like it. Spooner says first 3 under. I've had it on my card multiple times. So have I. I've looked at it a lot. He says, I'm not worried about Bieber. He's worried about Cole. I'm not worried about Cole. I'm not worried about Garrett Cole because it's going to be sold out. I'm worried about Garrett Cole when he plays a bottom feeder in front of 15,000 fans in some podunk stadium. I'm not worried about him when it's sold out. I think Garrett Cole pitches well here tomorrow. He's been pitching very well. He has not allowed more than 3 earned runs now in 7 starts. The 2 starts where he allowed over 3 earned runs were he allowed 3 were quality starts. So, he didn't get a quality start in that 2-1 win at the Cubs because he only made it through 5 2/3. Let's talk about Shane Bieber. 3-2, 5.48 ERA, 1.66 whip, 7.21 expected ERA. I mean, if Spoons has confidence in Bieber, then I think I can get past my concerns here, but I want to go over it all. Bieber did not look good in that last start at the Phillies. It was so easy to back him in Houston after getting destroyed in Washington. He has to be perfect because he's throwing 90 and 91. 3 or 4 years ago when he was throwing 95, 96, he could get away with mistakes a little better than he can now. Now, if he makes mistakes, they go yard. So he's had 2 really bad starts over his last 3, but they both come on the road. So he hasn't had a home start since July 23rd. You have to go back 4 starts. And, he was incredible versus the Rays at home. His last 2 starts at home, he allowed 1 earned run and 6 hits over 13 innings combined against the White Sox and the Rays. So, you know what? I think you're right, Spoons, that, expecting Bieber to that your concern is Cole. I'm not concerned about Cole because of sold out Friday night. Let's talk about the bullpens. Jays bullpen, 3.62 ERA, 1.50 whip. I don't trust them. Yankees bullpen, 2.97 ERA, 1.27 whip. When it comes to the sticks, neither team's hitting at all. I mean, I don't even have, this is from the 13th to the 13th. And, this will include today's horrific display of offense. 203, 644 OPS versus righties, and Jays 253, 690 OPS. Sharpie says Cole shoves tomorrow. I'd be more worried about Bieber. We have the ace effect. Bieber needs to handle the top 4, which metric-wise will be tough. Rice, Garcia, and Grisham. And AM saying that line, Diamondbacks plus 170, Braves minus 205. Yeah, I saw the minus 180 to minus 195 at Bet Online, but what book is that at, AM? So Swiggy says Nerfy, not like the Yanks, can hit. Okay, so let's talk about the line history and what are we expecting here. This total is sitting here at an 8. It has not moved since it became available at minus 130 p.m. at Bet Online. And we're seeing minus 120 to the under. Heritage has this minus 114 to the under, minus 108 to the over, but they opened it up at 7.5. They opened it up at 3:45 p.m., 2 hours, 15 minutes after it first came out at Bet Online. Juice to the over, and they've just been moving it to the over from minus 120 over 7.5 to over 8 at minus 105 to over 8 at minus 108. So let's get to the money line here. And I want to know the price difference first 5 in full game. When we get to the money line, we have a move towards VJ, 7 cents from plus 136 to plus 129, 7-cent move there. And when we get to Pinnacle price difference, I think this should be extremely telling. We have the Jays first full game at plus 135, first 5 plus 132. The Yankees are minus 150, sitting at minus 150 full game. First 5 minus 155. So there's not that much of a difference, but it is expensive. You could take the Yankees first 5 minus a half, minus 108, but then the Yankees would need to score a run. Shout out to Chappie Funk in the house. And Sharpie says Blue Jays numbers are actually worse. They smacked Wheeler in hot weather. Happens to be all 3 games. Wheels has been whacked as being very hot. It's also though, Sharpie, everybody's calling him out for whether his foot's on the rubber, and it's affecting him. It's affecting him. He's swearing at the opposition. They're all yelling at him. Is your foot on? They're messing with him, and he's emoting on the mound. But that's only part of it. So let's take a look at the cash flow. Do we have any information here for this one? And we do. 53% of the tickets, 65% of the cash is on Garrett Cole and the New York Yankees. 50% of the tickets are on the over. 80% of cash is on the over. Yeah, Johnny, you're not taking Yanks money. You'd have to take a minus a half. I do, Spoons. I do. I remember many of these big-titted pitchers that can't handle the heat. Now, Wheeler doesn't have big, luscious, supple tits, but all right. Let's take a look at what the first 3 under is. We've been tracking it for a while. Let's see what we're dealing with. The first 3 under here in this one. We got, come on, move over. Sorry, taking a second. And here we go. The first 3 under for Jays, Yankees. I'm going to have to speed this up to try not to go over 2-hour shows. It's not easy with all this stuff to break down and all this. God, it'd be easy to break down these games if we weren't heavily investing in them and our lives weren't on the line due to our action. Then I could just breeze through them without a care in the world. It's a 2.5 at minus 120. A 2.5 at minus 120. And, if it's an 8 at minus 110, you would think that it would start at 2.5 at minus 120. This is an 8 minus 115 to the under. You'd want it to be a little bit more expensive. But Spooner's saying that is the best first 3 number that is there at 365, that the first 3 unders are more expensive in other books. 1-0 Brewers walked in a run, says AM. Let me know all about what's going on, because I do have some interest in making some live moves here. Oh, but we cashed the Angels' first 3. Oh, this is beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. Okay. All right, let's roll on. Stop worrying so much when the winners start rolling in. Okay, our next spot on the board. So, look, I'm interested in the first 3 under. I'm interested in the first 5 under. Let's just see what the first 5 under is at Pinnacle here really quickly before we go into the next spot on the board. Obviously, I'm taking a little bit more time on this game because I'll be there. The first, so if it's an 8, at Pinnacle this is an 8, and it is a pick'em, and then the first half is first 5 over 4 is minus 132. The first 5 under 4.5 is minus 118. We're not really getting a sense here. We're not really getting a sense of. It's not like it feels like the books are going to move this towards the over. That's what it feels like. It feels like if we can just be patient in this game, we'll get rewarded with a better number in the morning. All right, let's roll on. Mel, it is great to see you. Great to see you. That is a sweat. I don't bet those, but I know my man Elio bets, first 3 under a half at like plus 360 and cashes those. Let's roll. Seattle Mariners, Houston Astros. We're at Daikin Park in Houston, Texas. Mariners 56-65, 23-36 on the road. Astros 62-60, 30-29 at home. We have Jorge Kirby on the hill against Peter Lambert. George Kirby, 3.68 ERA, 1.27 whips, got a 3.85 expected ERA. He's pitching really well. And, when I go over his numbers, it's you have one bad start and it will stick out to me. It'll just stick out to me. That's wild. That's wild, Spooner. And Dan H in the house. Great to see you. We have that July 27th start. You lost 7 earned runs at the Rangers. It came out of nowhere. If you look at the 4 starts previous to that, he never allowed more than 2 earned runs. He had 1 earned run, 1 0 earned runs. And then the 2 starts after that, he's allowed 1 earned run combined in a 7-6 win at home over the Twins. He didn't allow a run. The bullpen fell apart. He went 7 innings, didn't allow a run. And then Saturday, August 8th, he went 1 earned run over 5 innings in the 3-2 loss at home versus the Rays. So a 2-0 Brewers. When is it time for us to move live? Can you guys let me know if we want to move live and when we should move live? Okay, Johnny Preston. Well, maybe it's a gift. Maybe you can move live. Look, the Brewers are a tough team. They're a tough bullpen. So I'm going to wait at this point. But keep let me know if you guys are moving. Okay, so George Kirby is trustworthy. He's trustworthy. Now, I'd much rather back him at home than I would on the road, but he is certainly a trustworthy starter. If you look at the starts that he's been blowing up, I mean, there's 2 on his whole resume this year. When we get to Peter Lambert, 8-6, 3.09 ERA, 1.15 WHIP, 3.43 expected ERA. You know, his velocity climbed, and we won't ask how it possibly climbed 4 miles an hour. We'll just, cap it. And he has not gone. He's not made an out in the 6th inning over his last 3 starts. And he hasn't won August 2nd. So he went 5 innings July 28th. He's allowed 2 earned runs in 4 straight starts. 1 was a quality start. The last 3 weren't. You have to wonder if Lambert, who has dealt with a ton of injuries in his career, is starting to deal with some arm fatigue. But he's a trustworthy pitcher. And he's a trustworthy pitcher, whether it's at home or on the road. And he's pitching at a high level right now. Let's talk about these bullpens. The Astros bullpen is elite right now, absolutely elite. And the Mariners bullpen looks bad. Now, Munoz looks spectacular, but everyone else looks bad. Now, it's a tired Astros bullpen. 2.30 ERA, 0.94 WHIP. Then the Mariners bullpen, 5.50 ERA, 1.43 WHIP's been bad. When it comes to the sticks, the Astros are hitting. The Astros are starting to do everything, similar to the Rays and similar to top teams in the league, that they're covering all facets of the game. The Mariners aren't hitting. 226.47 OPS. Let's get into the line history here for this spot. We have a 5-cent move to Kirby from plus 118 to plus 113. I mean, the Mariners season is on the line in this series. The Mariners have been bad. They're 9 games under 500. Maybe, you would think that they would have 0 chance whatsoever, but the Astros are 62-60. That's all they are. You sweep the Astros here, get on a run, you could get right back in this. When it comes to the total for this spot, we have an 8 minus 115 to the over. That's exactly where it opens, so no move there. When we take a look at the price difference, I think this will be telling. The price difference first 5 in full game, we have the Mariners plus 114 full game, first 5 plus 110, so no advantage there. Astros are minus 126 full game, first 5 minus 129. When we get to the cash flow for this spot, we have 73% of the tickets on the Astros and 91% of the cash. 50-50 ticket count, 94% cash on the over. Spooner is on a first 3 under here at minus 118. We'll copy and paste that. Thank you for sharing with us, Spoons. I get it. I'd like to look at what that price is here over. Take a look at what this price is over at Bet365. So Spooner got the minus 118. And let's see what they're offering up. Come on, here we go. Okay, so here for the Astros game, we have a full game at 8.5 minus 120 to the under. So it should be a pick 'em. It should just be a minus 120 each way. Of course, minus 120, very expensive first 3s at Bet365. And that's what it is, minus 120 each way. They're not really tipping their hat. I think it's very interesting. Jerry Davis is on Houston money line. And Keith Just the Truth says Astros must shove and win the series. Mark Sasowski says Houston coming home from San Francisco, so not a fresh home game. All very important notes. I'm going to need more time on this, but I've copied and pasted all of your thoughts, and I will continue studying it for the morning bag in 10 hours and 47 minutes. Let's roll on. Next up, 9:38 p.m. Eastern, the Kansas City Royals 49-73. 20-43 on the road at the LA Angels, 47-74, 27-34 at home Angel Stadium in Anaheim, California. By the way, Sharpie says, book saying Kirby gets whacked. He owns the Astros. 9 starts, hasn't allowed more than 2 runs in 8 of them. So let's go. Angel Stadium in Anaheim, California, minus 2% runs, minus 4% homers, minus 2% doubles and triples, and even singles. We have Seth Lugo, 5-7, 4.41 ERA, 1.37 WHIP. He's got a 5.24 expected 5.24 expected ERA. You know, he's not been very good this year. The 2024 was an outlier, an aberration, but it's in our heads. His last start was a quality start. It was at home versus the Cubs. It's not an easy team to pitch against. 3 earned runs over 6 innings. Start before that, Thin Air, Colorado, 5 earned runs over 5 innings. I guess we can put a line through that. His start before that at the Twins, he allows 1 earned run over 6 innings. Start before that at home. If we just look at his home starts and look at the splits, he's much more trustworthy at home than he is on the road. So the last start at home, 3 earned runs over 6 innings versus the Cubs. That was on August 8th. Start before that, July 22nd, at home versus the Giants, 3 earned runs over 7 innings. Start before that versus the Padres, 1 earned run over 6 innings. So clearly, and we had a quality start before that, 3 earned runs over 6 innings at home versus the Rays. And that was seeing Rays back-to-back games. So we know that he pitches much better at home than he does on the road. Let's talk about Grayson Rodriguez. He can't get lefties out. He, on August 4th, faced the Orioles. And he had obviously been drafted by the Orioles. It came up through their system, and it was important for him. And he had his best start. He did allow 2 earned runs over 7 innings, which was great. He allowed those earned runs really early. That cost me the first 2.5, but it was his best start. He was excellent. And then I was curious, and we know that this guy can't get any lefties out, and the Royals have at least 6 of them, what he would do in that next start. And he got touched up at the Marlins. Touched up. You know, TJ put it on a tee or on a silver platter for us that you just can't back Grayson Rodriguez against a team that has a lot of left-handed bats. His numbers versus lefties are unbelievably bad. And, you know, you could say, look at the lefties that Casey has, you know, Jensen, Caglione, you know, he's a problem. Massey, Collins is a switchy, and then Rave and Isbell. Those are, you could say that's a weak group of lefties. And, you know, that would be fair. We said that about the Baltimore Orioles, that it was a weak group of lefties for the Orioles. Henderson, Holiday, Beavers, Tavares is a switchy, and then Cowser. You know, it's a weak group. So I don't want to sit here and believe in Grayson Rodriguez. That's not a way to pad my bankroll. But I do know that there's certain situations where he steps up, and I was so interested in what he was going to do in that last start. So interested because he looked great against the Orioles. But he came back to looking like the same Grayson Rodriguez we've been watching all year, except against the Astros. So, and Spooner says this is definitely weaker than the Orioles, but there's a lot of them. There's a lot of them. Spooner also saying that this is an awfully expensive first 3 under for a total at 9. So let's take a look at all of that. First, let's talk about the bullpen. So Angels bullpen 3.38 ERA, 1.24 WHIP. We have the Royals bullpen 5.23 ERA, 1.53 WHIP. When it comes to the sticks, these teams aren't hitting. They're not. Angels versus righties 204, 580 OPS. Royals versus righties 239, 694 OPS. So neither are hitting. Rodswag says bet on Seth Lugo on the money line versus teams averaging 2.75 or less extra base hits per game in the second half of the season. Lugo's team record in his career 21-5. Let's take a look at the line history. We have a 9. So this did open up at a 9.5, and this 9 is juiced to the under. Wow. That's interesting. I mean, these teams can't hit. Huh, that is very interesting. We've said a 3-cent move towards Lugo from minus 102 to minus 105. And then I'd like to look at this first 3 here. We have, here we go, the first. Now, they don't have anybody listed at 365 as well. Is there any chance that it won't be Grayson, or maybe they use an opener for him? Get through some of those lefties. So we have a 9 here, minus 115 to the under. So, if an 8.5 at minus 110, really, if you believe in the under, it should be at least minus 125 to the under. A 9 juice to the under. This shouldn't be. I would be shocked if this wasn't. This should be like a minus 105. They don't give you minus 110s to the under here. It's either minus 105 or minus 115. They go up in 10-cent increments at Bet365 for the first threes. So I would think it should be like a minus 105 to the under 2.5. It's not up yet, so we're going to have to wait. What is it at the other books, Spooner? Mark Sasowski says, so Kansas City first 5 and stay away from the bullpen. You know what can make a bullpen look decent? The Angels lineup. They're so weak. Let's take a look at what the price difference is. There should be a big price difference for Seth Lugo at home, against Rodriguez here. We have a flat pick'em, minus 105 each way at Penny. And then first 5, it's a pick'em each way. So maybe there's a minus 110 to minus 120. That is expensive for a 9. All right, well, this is going to require more thought, but I tell you, why was I talking about Seth? God, I'm so sorry, you guys. I was talking about Seth Lugo's home starts instead of his road starts. Sorry, I just too many numbers in my head. I apologize. And I was going over his home starts like it mattered. And we talked about the splits and we had the graphics on the screen. My apologies. So let's just go over his road starts so at least I don't feel like such a schmuck. Sunday, August 2nd, that was at the Rockies. He lost 5 earned runs over 5 innings. And then we have at the Twins. He had that beautiful start of the Twins, but that was right without Buxton in the lineup in the heart of the Twins not hitting. The road start before that, God, what an idiot I must have sounded like going through his home starts, like such an ass clown. I apologize. The Sunday, July 12th, he was at the Orioles. He allowed 2 earned runs over 4 innings. And he's not looked good on the road. Huh. Okay. All right. I don't know why I was in my head thinking that Seth was at home here. We're at Angel Stadium, where he's been terrible on the road. Why is this total moving towards the under? It's because of how weak these bats are. Maybe this is the right situation to trust a Grayson Rodriguez who's been so bad. Or at least, aren't you a little surprised that Seth Lugo against Grayson Rodriguez and it's a pick'em first 5 and full game? I'm going to need to sit with this for longer. Let's roll on to our next spot on the board. 9:40 p.m. Eastern. Texas Rangers 60-61, 28-34 on the road at the Athletics, 47-74, 21-39 at home. We're at Sutter Health Park in Sacramento, California. Plus 22% runs. Oh, sorry, let me get these up here. We have plus 22% runs, plus 31% homers, plus 18% doubles and triples, and plus 1% singles. I'm surprised that they don't have pitchers listed because jump versus rocker, as Chappie is saying, it's a really fun situation. I like these pitchers a lot, but Kumar Rocker has not been looking very good of late. Let's review it. Kumar Rocker, 4.9, 4.46 ERA, 1.38 whip. He's got a 4.66 expected ERA. And he was rolling right along. And then he would have these blow-up starts. So, we have if we go from like May 30th, June 5th, June 11th, he lost 4 earned runs over those 3 combined starts. And then he gets destroyed at home by the Twins, 6 earned runs over 3 1/3. And he bounces back. 2 earned runs over 5 at the Marlins, no earned runs over 6 at the Jays. And then he gets touched up at home versus the Tigers. And then he gets annihilated afterwards at home versus the Astros. So in those starts combined, he goes 10 innings, allows 13 hits, 10 earned runs, 4 homers, 10 Ks, 3 walks. And then he bounces back versus the White Sox at home. Follows that up with another nice start at home versus the Mariners. Heads out on the road, and he gets a little bit of Rebenga against the Astros, 3 earned runs over 5 1/3. And then he comes back home and gets lit up by the Orioles. He can't be trusted right now. We have Gage Jump on the other side, 4.46 ERA, 1.46 whip, 4.12 expected ERA. Last time we saw Gage Jump was in that battle against Jake Bennett, back-to-back starts against Bennett, and he outpitched Bennett. Those starts, he looked very good in. The start Sunday, August 2nd, 6 earned runs over 3 2/3, and 11-0 loss at home versus the Tigers. I couldn't understand exactly why he looked so bad in that start. Why he couldn't carry on the momentum. That was back-to-back home starts. Maybe it's because the Detroit Tigers were hitting hard, but so were the Boston Red Sox at the time. Doesn't make sense. The bullpen for the A's is an atrocity. 8.25 ERA, 1.82 whip over the last 30 days. I thought it was bad when they were in the 7s. Now we're in the 8s. The Rangers bullpen's terrible as well. 5.23 ERA, 1.55 whip. When it comes to the sticks, the A's are hitting righties a little. They're in very offensive conditions, and they're barely hitting them. Rangers versus lefties, 243, 695 OPS. They've stopped hitting lefties, and they don't have power against lefties. I don't see why Gage Jump isn't live here and isn't the better of these two pitchers right now. We have a plus 118 for the Athletics. It's moved to a plus 116. And then when we get to the total in this one, we have a 9.5, which is a low total for here. Now, let's get into the price difference. Give me a reason. Give me an opportunity to back Gage Jump early, and I'll do it. Even though I like Kumar Rocker, but I'll do it. Let's see what we have. We don't have this line out here. Damn it. I would like the books to help me get to Gage Jump. I'd like that a lot. But again, as you guys are saying, this line's not up anywhere yet. So maybe there's a change. But I'd like to get the Gage Jump early if it is Gage against Rocker and the Texans who aren't hitting lefties. Sure, buddy. Oh, yes, my live bets are coming in. Beautiful. Sorry, Spoons. Here we go. Okay. So Jacob's interested in Gage Jump as well. It is an omen. Shout out to the sports scientist, Jacob. Okay, let's roll on. Next spot on the board. I'm interested in Gage Jump early. Next spot on the board, 10:10 p.m. Eastern, the Milwaukee Brewers at the Los Angeles Dodgers. Look, I know that TV Jones is not going to want to hear this, but I have already bet the LA Dodgers here. I've already bet Yamamoto and the Dodgers. I got the -1 at -120. I had to use two different books to get the -1 at -120. I've been waiting for Gasser to look better, and he has, but it's not enough. Yamamoto looks like an absolute monster right now. Let's talk about Chavez Ravine. 0% runs, plus 12% homers, -2% doubles and triples, and -4% singles. Let's get into the situation here. We'll start with Gasser. 3-4, 4.57 ERA, 1.22 whip, 4.15 expected ERA. Look, I think Gasser is going to be good at some point. This is his third year getting opportunities in the big leagues. Second round pick in the 2021 draft out of University of Houston. He looked very good in 7 starts at AAA Nashville. Gasser comes up and doesn't look very good. He doesn't look bad, but there's a bunch of starts where he would just get lit up and touched. 4 earned runs over 4 1/3 in his second start. That was at home versus the Dodgers. 6 earned runs over 5 innings at the Athletics. That was his 4th start. His 8th start, that wasn't that bad. 10th start, 7 earned runs over 3 innings at the Pirates. Since that start, that was July 12th, he's been pitching quite well. The last start wasn't the best example, as he only made it through 4 2/3, allowed 3 earned runs at home over the Twins. I don't really trust him. I've been waiting to trust him, but I don't really trust him. Let's get into Yoshinobu Yamamoto. 11-7, 2.65 ERA, 3.15 expected ERA. And this guy is just a robot. He just goes out there, gives you a quality start after quality start after quality start. I mean, if you look at the last 10 starts, 9 straight, he'd gone over 6 innings. 9 straight starts with only the 1 bad start at the Diamondbacks until this last start. This last start, he didn't make it through 6 innings, but he was excellent. No earned runs. He did walk 3 batters. He's just absolutely elite. And I want him. We come to the bullpens. Dodgers bullpen, 4.71 ERA, 1.39 whip. Brewers bullpen, 3.28 ERA, 1.22 whip. Brewers are a very good baseball team. Don't get me wrong. Dodgers versus lefties, 272, 739 OPS. They don't have a ton of power, but they're hitting lefties much harder than hitting righties. Brewers are 243, 719 OPS versus righties. Let's get into this line history here, we've had no movement on the total. It's an 8 minus 120 to the under. And then when we get to the money line here, we have it's starting to move. I got the minus 170 as part of my money line. It's gone from minus 165 to minus 178. So we've moved 13 cents here. Let's get into the the price difference. We have the Dodgers minus 174 full game. First 5 minus 193. First 5 minus a half minus 128. I think it should be bet. I think I should add the first 5 minus a half here. I'm not entirely sure why I was just solely focused on the full game. I'm going to add the first 5 minus a half as soon as I can. Dan H., Dodgers team total under as well. He wants that. He is trusting Robert Gasser here. I'm not. Yeah, you could say the Dodgers aren't hitting and Mookie Betts is carrying this offense, and that would all be fair. But I'm not. I'm comfortable. Let's just take a look at the cash flow for this spot. We have one more spot on the board. But cash flow-wise, here we have 71% of tickets, 71% of cash on the Dodgers, and 60% of tickets on the over, 90% of the cash on the over. All right, that is I'm already on the full game minus 1. I'm going to have the first 5 minus a half. Let's talk about the final spot on the board. And I have a sickness in Kyle Freeland starts. I have moved on the first 3 under. I got the first 3 under in this one at minus 125. First 3 under 2.5 minus 125. We have Kyle Freeland versus Landon Roop. We are at Oracle Park in San Francisco, California. Minus 5% runs, minus 20% homers, plus 4% doubles and triples, and plus 6% singles. Let's get into the situation. We'll start with Freeland. Kyle Freeland, 6.63 ERA, 1.50 whips, got a 5.22 expected ERA. We're NFL's next. NFL is next, my man. Saturday, August 8th, he went 4 1/3 his last start. 1 earned run over 4 1/3 at the Cardinals. The start, but we knew that something was going to go wrong because the start before that, he had a complete game, 5-hitter, allowed 1 earned run, struck out 8 and walked 2, and 8-1 win at home versus the Royals. It was, extremely impressive. All of this talk about how bad Martinez looks from Man Bear Pig makes me think I'm going to lose a lot of money here. Huh. Come on, Niners, stay in this. So, he looked very good in that start August 2nd. We knew he was going to come back to earth on August 18th. But even if you go back a few starts, that first start after the All-Star break, he went a full 6. The start going into the All-Star break, he threw a full 6. He is pitching better right now. And we've talked about these teams who can't hit lefties. Well, the Giants are now the worst team in Major League Baseball over the last 30 days against lefties. 178 and a 503 OPS. It's horrible. That's over 30-day period because they were crushing lefties at one point, and that has gone away. Rockies versus righties, 257, 740 OPS. And then we have bullpen-wise. The Giants bullpen, 3.79 ERA, 1.43 whip. Rockies bullpen, 4.87 ERA, 1.49 whip. Not to be trusted. Yes, the graphics do say no. And so, yes, I'll do a check here. That did make me a little nervous looking at those. I'll go to Fangraphs here. Let's go for the last. We'll go from the 13th to the 13th. So 8, 13, 20, 26. Okay. Versus left-handed pitching. Okay, here we go. Apply advanced. Weighted runs created. Yes, San Francisco is worst in Major League Baseball, 43 weighted runs created plus. The San Francisco Giants have a 503 OPS over the last 30 days versus left-handed pitching. I know that the graphics aren't saying that, but this is right from Fangraphs. This is by far the worst team versus left-handers. So Cincinnati's 29th, Toronto's 28th, Pittsburgh's 27th. The Giants are absolutely abysmal versus left-handed pitching over the last 30 days. And I know it isn't telling you that with those graphics, but it's right here on Fangraphs. So I do think that Freeland's going to be able to pitch well here against this team that's not hitting lefties. Let's talk about Landon Roop. 7-11, 4. Oh, also, Freeland has shoved at Oracle Park in the past. I remember sitting at Nut Flush Allen's house in L.A. and watching Freeland go a complete game, allowing one run. And obviously, that's a bias in my head, but he's pitched very, very well at Oracle Park in the past. Landon Roop here. Landon Roop. At times, he's looked excellent, and he did have a bounce-back start of sorts at home versus the Tigers in his last start. 1 earned run over 5 1/3. The start before that, though, he looked bad at the Padres. 5 earned runs over 4 2/3, and then the Brewers got to him in his last home start. Is he dealing with some arm fatigue? I mean, this is a lot of innings at this point, 123 2/3, but I think he can be fine here and follow up with that last start at home that looked very good. I have interest in the full game under, but I don't trust these bullpens. And then I can't have more than one unit in the under when Kyle Freeland's pitching. It's just optional misery. So it'll just be that first 3 under 2.5 here. I'm hoping, Man Bear Pig, keep me in the loop because I'm not going to cash that over at all. So I need to cash the 49ers plus 6.5. And I need a touchdown or 2 field goals. So because I have the team total over 13.5. So give me a heads up for that. So I don't think I'm going to add anything to this. Let's take a look at the line history here. We've had a move towards Freeland, a big one. Look at that big giant move towards Freeland. Plus 131 to plus 112. Wow. That is a big move towards the Rockies. Huh. We've had a 15-cent move to the under 8 from minus 105 to minus 120. I think that I'll probably need to invest more in this. I mean, that's such a big move towards the Rockies. Let's take a look at the price difference here. First 5 in full game. We have the Rockies plus 111 full game. First 5 plus 110. So they're saying that it's not an early difference. AM is on the under. I'm on the first 3 under 2.5. I don't think I need to do more than that, honestly. I think but I mean, if we're here and all the public is going to be backing the Giants because Freeland's such a gas can, and this line keeps moving, but only 56 and 52 are on the Giants right now. Maybe the Rockies should be bet. Maybe they should be bet. I'm going to think on that. I think I'd prefer to wait, and I can't. Sorry, you're talking to Man Bear Pig. Okay, I can't add to the under. I can't add to it. Not with Freeland pitching. It's too dodgy. All right, let's do a review of all action here. We are coming off of a nice day. So we're 8-3 right now in MLB because we just cashed the first 3 Angels and the first 5 Angels plus a half. Walbert Arena has been so good to us all year. And then I have the Dodgers money line to close out the card. So, I think we're seeing the board really clearly, and we must attack. This is my action. NYZ Finest. I'm sorry. I hope. Well, I don't want to say I hope your life savings is small. I want you to have an enormous life savings and build it up again. But again, obviously bankroll management is the most important thing in gambling. But you don't need a lesson like that. Hopefully you're joking. So here we go. Action for me right now. I have St. Louis, Chicago over 8 at minus 110. Boston, Pittsburgh, first 3 under 2.5, minus 125. Boston, Pittsburgh, full game under 8, minus 115. San Diego, Cleveland, first 5 under 4 at minus 109. San Diego, Cleveland, full game under 7.5 at minus 120. Dodgers, minus 1 at minus 120. Colorado, San Francisco, first 3 under 2.5, minus 125. 4 additions here. I've got so much work still to go on this card. Again, this is more of the hemming and hawing show. On the morning show, we just attack, but I don't see a ton of additions here. The under in the White Sox-Tigers game, I'd like Urquidy to be pitching, and I have some interest in the Tigers minus 1, but I want to know who's pitching. I need to know who's pitching between Bradish and Bassett because I think Schultz can pitch well here, and I would like to fade. I got to study it more. The Guardians first 5, it's expensive. I don't want to add minus 130s to my card, but Then the fought start. So again, I want that market to really get a chance to marinate and sit, and then I'll decide. But I really want, first 300, first 500. But it's very offensive, hot weather, so I just need to sit with it and study it longer. I'm going to move on this Yankees Jays game because I'm going to be there, but I want more time to study that as well. Spoons on that first 300, 2.5, and Mariners Astros. I'm going to spend more time on that game. Then the Lugo Grayson Rodriguez game is tricky. Clearly the market's telling us to move on the under, but I don't know if I can do that. I want Gage jump first 3 and first 5 against Kumar Rocker, but we need that to solidify. The first 5 minus a half for Los Angeles, I'm going to bet that tonight. But I don't think I'm going to add that much. All right, that is Major League Baseball for Friday, August 14th. Let's get into the NFL here. Let's get into the NFL. And we have the 49ers driving. Come on, boys. We need a touchdown. But also, if the Titans don't score, we'll cash the plus 6.5. Let's just take a look at how the evening's gone. Losing that Bengals first half was insane. Like it's so funny how the worst case scenario can happen so frequently. So let's take a look here. I need this 49ers game, but we lost the Packers first half minus a half. We cashed Arizona, Las Vegas Raiders, and we cashed them live under 2. So we cashed both of those. We lost Bengals first half, horrible. We lost the Colts minus 2.5. We cashed Indianapolis, New England under 37.5. We cashed the Chargers, Houston under 36.5. We cashed the Raiders team total under 20.5. So, God, I mean, we could be sitting here with a good night if the 49ers can just take care of business here and we didn't lose the Bengals spot. So, yeah, AM says the sequence of events that took place to lose that was horrific, and now 49ers are on 4th down. On their own 41. Well, just kick it. Let's just cash the 6.5, and we'll move on and fight another fight tomorrow. All right, let's talk NFL. Where the hell is my football? Who the hell? Where's the guy in the Carter? Must have snagged it. All right, let's roll here. 7 p.m. Eastern with the Denver Broncos at the Atlanta Falcons. We're at Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta, Georgia. Sean Payton going up against Kevin Stefanski. It's the Stefanski season in Atlanta. Sean Payton just 36-33 straight up in the preseason, but we all have seen what he has done in the Denver Broncos 7 preseason games. Actually, it's had 9, right? 9 preseason games in Denver. They've dominated. I mean, sending messages. I mean, it's insane. Does he need to, now that they had such a run last year and looked so good, maybe he doesn't feel the need to destroy opponents in the preseason. They have outscored opponents in his 9 preseason games in Denver, 262-118. They've won 7 straight games, and they've been dominating the opposition. And it's Jarrett Stidham. Jarrett Stidham's just a preseason beast. He is a preseason monster. So let's talk about the spot for both teams. First off, Michael Penix Jr. still working his way back. He's not cleared for any 11-on-11 activity. So we are waiting on that. Both teams are going to play their starters for at least one series. So that's Bo Nix, of course, for Denver, and Tua Tagovailoa for the Falcons. But it's just going to be one series here. Just one series. And then Jarrett Stidham is going to come in. For how long are we going to get Jarrett Stidham in? That is the question. The longer that Stidham is in that 7-game winning streak, he's thrown 6 touchdown passes and thrown for 742 yards. So they're also averaging 32.1 points per game during that 7-game winning streak. Mel says that Bo Nix is not playing. I heard that he was getting the one series. Here, let me just go over this again here. This is crucial, obviously, information. Stidham is great in the preseason. Okay, no, you're right. He's decided to hold him back because he's still recovering. Okay, interesting. So it's just Jared Stidham and Sam Ellinger. So they're saying that Bo will play in the next 2 preseason games. Okay, thank you for that, Mel. That is very, very important. He's not playing. Bo Nix's not playing. I heard that he was going to get that one series, but that's not happening. Yes, Mel, we get it. Bo Nix is not playing. I understand that. You can add to it by saying important. Bo Nix is not playing even one series. I picked it up from the first line. So it's going to be Jarrett Stidham playing, and we don't know how long he's going to go. On the other hand, after Tua Tagovailoa is pulled, it's Cooper Rush. And the story here from Stefanski is that he wants to see what Jack Strand is all about, and that Jack Strand could play the entire second half here. So if you want the Falcons, which I know a lot of people do, and we'll go over the line history here, and of course, I need to add to my notes for the morning show here. But if you want to back here the Falcons, and we've seen what's happened already from the Steelers with Mike McCarthy, when there's a new coach involved, you get a lot more effort. You get a lot more effort from the backups because they're really, really fighting for a role. Now, it's not like they're not when they have an incumbent, but having a new coach does help in these situations we have seen. Let's take a look at the line history here and the cash flow for these spots. First off, we'll go into the line history. Here we go. So line history-wise, for our first game on the board tomorrow night, we have Denver opening up -3.5 and -105, and they're -3.5, -110. So this has been all over the place. This opened up at -3.5, and yesterday at 1 p.m. it was a -7. Now we're all the way back down, back to a 3.5. So we've had massive, massive line movement in this one. Let's get to the total. The total here for this one is, we are sitting here at a 39.5. This opened up at 37. We talked about the 32.1 points per game that the Broncos have averaged over the 7-game winning streak. But I do think that Sean Payton has succeeded. There's less of a need to put the hammer down to set the tone. Let's take a look at the cash flow for the spot here. We have 52% of the tickets and 58% of the cash on Denver, 71% of the tickets and 82% of cash on the over. AM has hit line Broncos -21 and the total 34.5. I mean, there were times in Dallas where Cooper Rush looked okay in exhibition games. He's not looked good. He did not look good last year. And then how long are we going to see Jack Strand? Do you believe in Stefanski that that's the guy he really wants to see out there? Obviously, I had thought that Bo Nix was playing that first series. I don't think it changes much that it's going to be Stidham. Is it, this game's going to require a little bit more time. But I can understand why there's a feeling that the Falcons are the play. I just find that I'm very hesitant to still fade Peyton and fade Stidham in a situation where they just continue to succeed over and over and over again. So I'm going to need to spend more time on this spot here. Let's roll on to game 2. We have our guy, Ronnie Crawford, saying that he is on the Jets here in this. Jets -6, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, New York Jets. We're at MetLife Stadium in East Rutherford, New Jersey. 82 Fahrenheit, partly sunny, 4-mile-per-hour winds. Todd Bowles 13-15 in the preseason, and Aaron Glenn 1-2. The big story here is that Jake Browning hurt his back. He hurt his back on Tuesday, and they haven't ruled him out yet, but he's not going to play. So it's a problem. So if Jake Browning is not going to play, then it'll be Jalen Daniels starting and Connor Bazelak. So it'll be a Bazelak Jalen Daniels combination for the Buccaneers, and it could be a real problem. We do know from Aaron Glenn that Geno Smith will be starting the game, and it sounds like he'll play a quarter. After that quarter, Cade Klubnik will come in, and they have Bailey Zappi and Brady Cook who will be fighting 4 times. So they have a real real battle here. Ron Crawford says Aaron Glenn says the Jets are playing everybody, including Geno Smith, while Tampa is expected to rest most of the starters. And Cade Klubnik been getting positive reports from camp. Yeah, Cade Klubnik is the 2 at this point. He is the backup, and then it's Zappi and Brady Cook behind him. So that is the expectation with Browning being hurt, is that, and the Jets having a real battle on their hands, and of course coming off such a horrible season, Aaron Glenn wants to set the tone. So I could understand Jets backers. Let's take a look at this line history here. For this one, we have a total at 36. It's dropped down to 35.5. 36 dropping to 35.5. That makes quite a bit of sense to me. Let's take a look at the spread here for this one. Spread wise, we have it sitting here at a 5.5 right now. So this opened up with the Buccaneers as favorites, -1.5. But I mean, that was only 6 days ago. Then it turned into a pick'em, and then it just started moving, very quickly towards the Buccaneers. And then we had the injury to Browning, which has been kind of hanging a dark cloud over all of this. So the Buccaneers got up to +6. Now they're +5.5. So the Jets are sitting here at -5.5 right now. Let's take a look at the AM says he'll be on the under, and Hino Ball says he's going to be on the Buccaneers here. Interesting. Let's get to the cash flow for this spot. Cash flow wise, we have 76% of tickets and 63% of cash on Tampa, and 76% of tickets and 84% of cash on the over. I agree with both angles here. I agree with backing the Jets here. It does feel like this Jalen Daniels, Connor Bazelak combination is, a problem. I don't know how hard Geno Smith's going to push here, but we do know that Klubnik, Zappi, and Cook are fighting and battling, and that's what we look for. So I agree with Ron's look there. I think it makes a lot of sense. I wonder what Pinnacle has this at here, because we see it now moving back towards the Bucks. And look at this. Wow. That's interesting. So here, they don't give you alternate lines, but this is clearly moving back towards the Buccaneers right now. So if we want the Jets, I don't think we bet them right now. It just feels like it went up to 6, and now we're going to come back, and we could a 4.5, some 4s could be here. I think the under should be bet, and I think the Jets should be bet, but I don't think I move on the Jets tonight. And the Titans just kicked a field goal. God damn it. Can we get something out of this 49? Can they do a 2-minute drill for us? Gonna screw me. I was pretty confident in it. God, what a battle. Nonstop. All right, let's roll on. Final spot here in the NFL is Miami Dolphins at the Washington Commanders here. Northwest Stadium in Landover, Maryland. Now, we have rain showers in this game, which will wreak some havoc. 80 Fahrenheit rain showers, 3-mile-per-hour winds. Jeff Hafley starting out his coaching career. Dan Quinn has been so bad in the preseason, 7-19, but the Dolphins are going to be so bad this year. They're going to be so bad this year. So we have the new coach in Hafley. We have the new general manager in John Eric Sullivan. Gone are all, Tagovailoa, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle are all gone. And Malik Willis will be the quarterback here. So Malik Willis, and he has a pretty weak group here. And supposedly at these joint practices, the Commanders have been dominating, absolutely annihilating the Dolphins. But this line's moving very quickly towards the Dolphins, despite them just getting destroyed. So it's Malik Willis. Then we're going to see Quinn Ewers. And then we think we're going to see Cam Miller for a chunk of it as well. Dan Quinn is not going to play his starters. He's going to be very cautious. So, it's Mariota and Sam Hartman is what we are going to see. But I don't think we see much of Mariota. I think it's going to be the Sam Hartman show here for the Commanders. This move towards the Dolphins is pretty massive. And I mean, it's just a huge, huge move that it's hard to not respect. They opened up at plus 1.5, and now we're sitting here at minus 3.5. When this first got to 3.5, it was a flat pick 'em, and I thought at that point, Washington was going to start being bet. That didn't really happen. Now there has been a 5-cent move. There was a 5-cent move 45 minutes ago to a minus 115 at the plus 3.5, but it's a very dangerous line. It's a very, very dangerous line. They're opening up now we'll look at the cash flow, but the fact that Miami's getting pummeled in all of these joint practices, and that's being reported everywhere, and that it's still a 3.5 is very. It's telling me that Miami's going to win, and that Dan Quinn just doesn't care about preseason. This total opened up at 36.5, and it's now a 36. When we get to the spread here in this one, as I said, it's moved to 3.5. And then when we get to the cash flow, we have 92% of the tickets are on the Commanders and 82% of the cash is on the Dolphins. It just feels like people in the know that Miami's going to go all out in this football game, and the Commanders don't care because they've been annihilating, and I mean annihilating, the Dolphins all in all these joint practices. You have 78% of tickets on the over and 89% of cash on the over here. So I'm going to need more time here on this one. And Muncie just hit a 3-run homer. Beautiful. I should have live bet that down too, but wasn't watching it, and I get nervous live betting these things when I'm not watching it. I think the Dolphins should be bet, but it appears that this line is going to be slightly moving back towards the Commanders. I think that you want a 3, but the people in the know that Dan Quinn doesn't care. He's seen enough from them bullying the Dolphins in all these joint practices. He's just going to have hands off, and the Dolphins are going to go all out for Halfley. I think that's the situation. I think the Dolphins should be bet. Again, I want the 3. I'm going to wait on this one, but I do think the Dolphins should be bet. So at this point, I was extremely confident in these spots in the NFL here. We do have the 49ers. Oh, no, they're not driving. They're throwing 30. I thought it was a 1st and 10. Come on, you guys. Can you do something for me here late? All right, let's move on to the Canadian Football League. Then we'll get into the WNBA. I know you guys have been keeping a close eye on the WNBA here. Ace is up 74-64, so we'll need the Mystics to battle a little bit here. God, I guess I deserve. I mean, back-to-back board sweepages. I guess I deserve to take a. Shouldn't talk like that. Angels up 6-0 on the Rangers as well. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. Gonna go. Well, let's wait. Let's wait before we say we're 9-3. Okay, let's roll. We're gonna do Canadian football. We got to be tight here. We trying to keep this under 2 hours. So we're gonna be tight. Friday, August 14th, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. We have the Ottawa Redblacks 0-8, 0-3 on the road at the Winnipeg Blue Bombers 4-4, 1-4 home. We're at Princess Auto Stadium in Winnipeg, Manitoba. 72 Fahrenheit, cloudy, 7 miles per hour. I know that a lot of cappers here liked Ottawa in their game against Saskatchewan. And it feels like there's real problems with Dinwiddie's group. And, we know that he has fired the defensive coordinator. We know that they're a mess. So they fired Will Fields, and it got worse. Ron Crawford says Winnipeg got embarrassed. They can call the score. They also have Zach Caleros returning to the lineup, which is a huge deal. But let's stick with Ottawa right now. They're coming off the ugly 42-20 loss at Saskatchewan on Friday night. They are allowing 36.1 points per game and 458 yards per game. I mean, they're just horrible. they're getting annihilated. The only time over the last 4 losses they didn't lose by double digits was when they played these Winnipeg Blue Bombers, but that was a game that was rife with emotion. At that time, you had Drew Brown cut from the Redblacks, signed again by the Bombers, who he used to back up for, coming back to Ottawa. And then, I was reading articles that were talking about how, 70 points were scored the last time these two teams met. That game went to triple overtime. That game wasn't under before it went to overtime. So, keep that in mind. The Bombers are an extremely angry group coming off their bye week and have their quarterback back. I'm with Ron that they can pick their number. That was just an absolutely horrendous loss at home to the Lions, who are playing without Nathan Rourke. It appears that Brady Oliveira may not be able to go, their superstar running back, which is a problem. And, Winnipeg at this point allowed 377 yards on the ground in that loss to BC. I mean, just a number that it's hard to believe. And now Redblacks signed Greg Bell in the offseason so that they would be able to do similar things to teams, but they can't do that. They're the worst running team, actually second worst running team in the CFL. I guess they're the worst now. Now I look at it. So they're not going to be able to run on Winnipeg, but I don't know how O'Shea still, one, has a job, and two, how he could handle what he saw in the Lions game. I mean, he must be the angriest coach in the CFL. It feels like the Bombers are, waiting to explode. What do we talk about? What you need when you play against the worst team in the league in any sport is you need to have accountability. And with Winnipeg coming off the loss and off the bye week, they have that accountability. Let's take a look at the line history here for this spot. We have Lions win outright. Hope you guys got on the Grey Cup at 25-1 and 20-1. We have sorry, that's the wrong day. My bad. Sorry. Here we go. Okay, we have the Bombers opening up at -6.5. Now they're -7. I agree. It should be bet. This did get up to a 7.5, and it's come back to a 7. Maybe the easier way of handling this would just be the double result. We did cash with the Lions plus 5.5, which is wonderful. But I think the double result might be the spot. I also don't see this game going over. I don't see this game going over. But again, I agree that Caleros could, that the Bombers could get whatever they want here. AM says a little spooked that this line isn't bigger. This team just lost to a backup quarterback at home by 16 points. And that team is not the Redblacks. That's the Bombers. So I think 7 is a big, big number and fine. Now, the double result will be expensive. Let's take a look at what this double result is going to be, because it could be too expensive. Now, we did move back to a 7. Let's see what the double result is, because it'd be nice to have both the 7 and the double result in our pocket. It might be too expensive, -150. I've been betting these double results at around this number, and it's been hurting me so far this year. But I think this game goes under. I think the Redblacks struggle to score. If the Bombers don't have Oliveira, I mean, shouldn't they be easier to defend despite Caleros coming back? I don't know. I'm going to sit with this full game under for a little bit more, but the Bombers should be bet. I agree with Ron. They should be bet on the -7, and then we could add the double result if we want. The Bombers are an angry group with Zach Caleros back. I'm going to think about the under. Let's move on to Saturday, 3 p.m. Eastern. Toronto Argonauts 4-4, 3-4 on the road at the Edmonton Elks, 6-3, 3-1 at home. We're at Commonwealth Stadium, Edmonton, Alberta. 70 Fahrenheit, partly sunny, 4 mile/hour winds. Edmonton's at home. They've covered every game at home all season long, and they're coming off of a loss, and they're an angry, angry group. 48-30 loss in Montreal. They looked horrific in the second half, and I've not heard one person on Toronto. Every single person I've heard and talked to is on the Elks. And I get it. There's nothing wrong with that. It's not like, 8 years ago in Costa Rica, when if we were all on the same play, we were in trouble. The Argos come off an impressive 33-30 victory at home over the Stamps on Thursday. The talk about the Argos all season long is how bad their secondary is and how they just get dominated in the secondary. But we just watched them hold Vernon Adams to 156 yards passing and no touchdown passes with 2 interceptions. He came in with 21 touchdowns and 0 interceptions. Then maybe that there should be another look at what the Argos are doing defensively under Mike Miller. Dewan, I'd given up. Oh, they are going to. They kicked the field goal. Oh, Dewan. Dewan. Now, let's just put this game to bed. That's great news, Dewan. Thank you, man. Oh, no, but they're going to try an onside kick. Well, will that put the Titans in field goal position? Okay, you guys can tell me. But I don't cash the team total over 13.5. Makes me want to smash something. That doesn't sound good. Man Bear Pig says it just the way he's saying it doesn't sound good. But the Titans don't care, do they? But they should probably go through the motions of kicking a field goal here. Again, you guys can tell me what's going on. Let's get into in all of these football games. I'm going to sit here tonight and hammer longer so that we can just crush on the morning show tomorrow. But all I've heard is everybody here on these Edmonton Elks, and for good reason. Let's take a look at the line history here for this spot. And I am starting to get much higher on the Argonauts. It doesn't mean I'm going to take them to fade the Elks at home. This total opened up at 62. It's now at 62.5. I used to think that the Elks played under football. That has not been the case this year. And then we're sitting here at a 3.5. This opened at a 3.5. I know that some people got this at a 3. It was available at 365 at a 3. And this moved to a 3 after this was available at Bet Online. And then it came back to a 3.5. Huh. All right. I'm going to need more time here. And they lose 83-76. Oh, wait. Oh, 83-76 is the final? The Titans are going to kick this field goal. Winning formation. Oh, God. I needed that so badly. Why didn't I only take the point? Okay, again, we don't need that. I understand that the Elks are the bet here. I guess maybe just because it's so public, I'm just hesitant to move on it. One thing that we have been getting is we've been getting the cash flow from Odds Logic for CFL. Oh, that's great news. Thank you. So again, I am going to need some more time on this spot. I understand. I've not heard one person on the Argos. Is anybody in the chat listening on the Argos? Because all I've heard is every single person on the Elks. And look, they've covered every single game at home, and they're coming off of an ugly loss. The perfect scenario to back them. Maybe I should just back them too and get over this. I'm going to need a little bit more time. Let's move on to Saturday, August 15th, 7 p.m. Eastern with the Saskatchewan Roughriders. 6-2, 3-0 on the road at the Hamilton Tiger Cats, 3-6, 2-3 at home, Hamilton Stadium in Hamilton, Ontario. It's wild that the defending champion Roughriders are sitting here 6-2 because the way I see it, they haven't been playing very well, but good enough to go 6-2 and be in charge. 74 Fahrenheit, partly sunny, 9 miles per hour wind. Saskatchewan comes in off that easy 42-20 win at Ottawa on Friday, and they did that without Samuel Emilus, Kean Schaefer-Baker, and AJ Ouellette. They're tough running back. So the 2 top receivers and their number 1 RB, and it didn't matter. They're a good team. Let's go on to Hamilton. They come in off a 27-24 loss at BC on Saturday. And look, it was a much better performance with Harrison Frost under center. But the Lions played absolutely horrible. They played so badly. That's why it felt so easy to expect them to bounce back in this next game. Yes, they won, but they played so badly. Now, Harrison Frost threw for 237 yards, touchdown, interception, but I was just beyond comprehension how bad the Lions looked. So I don't want to put too much into that. Now, Hamilton has a very good defense. And if Frost doesn't get into trouble, if he doesn't throw pick sixes and doesn't throw across the field, then they can stay in games. But I don't want to put too much emphasis into that 27-24 loss in BC because they look terrible. We have the Roughriders going from -6 to -7. Because of how bad the lines looked and because we can take advantage of that score, that makes sense to me. This total's at a 56 and dropping. That also makes sense to me. Ron Crawford being on the under. Both of those spots make sense to me. The Roughriders to take care of business and cover the number against the Ticats, win by 2 scores. So it'd be the same bet that we make when we're fading the Redblacks with Winnipeg. You take the Roughriders at the -6.5 or the -7, and you take the Roughriders double result. We take advantage of the fact that score that everybody's going to be looking at, what Hamilton did in BC, is not a fair representation of the football team. And I think the unders are in play as well. I think both of that makes sense, Ron. So I'm going to move on these tonight. Started the week at least with a win with the Lions plus 5.5, man. Last 2 weeks were bad in CFL. We were rolling right along. And then the unders. I like them. All right, let's roll on to the WNBA, and regression waits for no man. And the regression caught up to me, man. I was 6-0 this week. I lose the Mystics by a hook. God, plus 6.5. I lose the Liberty. They were up 27 points going into the fourth quarter. So I got my comeuppance here. Let's talk about these 2 spots for tomorrow. We can get right back to the win ways. God, that is frustrating. Dallas Wings, Indiana Fever, our next spot on the board. It's just horrible. Horrible. Damn. All right, so the Dallas Wings are coming up that snapping their 3-game losing streak with that victory at home versus Toronto. The whole issue there was that, they were an angry group coming off 3 straight losses, but with Fudd not on the floor, they're just not that good. So, she's already been ruled out. She's been practicing. She's already been ruled out for tomorrow's game against the Fever. This is a real problem because you have Fudd out, and then you lose Shepard, their center. And with Jessica Shepard out, she's averaging 14 points a game. As you have Fudd out, all of a sudden, it's Beckers has to do way too much. They're not very good. The Fever, though, do you want to back them after their first good game in August? They looked bad all of August. Now, they played the Lynx tough in that 108-100 loss. They lost to the Aces in overtime. That was at home. That was the Caitlin Clark debacle game. They barely beat the Chicago Sky 90-86. And, they showed out versus the Fever. Now, we had them against the Fever. Ron Crawford has Dallas plus 6.5 here. Now, let's see. Is there any chance that Jessica Shepard is back here? That would be... No, she's out and won't be in. Look, this is a problem for them. They're just not very good without these 2 important pieces. Let's take a look at the line history here for this spot and the cash flow. And then, because I think I don't... Now, to be on the other side of Ron Crawford, you have to really have conviction. So I'm going to have to see if I have that conviction. We have this opening up at -5.5. Now the Fever are -7. I wonder if that comes back. Comes back tomorrow. I don't know if it does. I think that they can cover that. This total's a 187.5 now, 187. You take Fudd out, you take Shepard out, and I want the Fever here. AM wants the Wings at plus 8.5. And Ron Crawford said Dallas needs a win bad with the break coming. Look, I'm going to bet the Fever. I think I'm going to sit with it a little bit longer, but the Tempo are so bad, and they could have won that basketball game because you take 30 points off the floor and there's just not enough depth. And if the Wings can't dominate you with guard play, and they don't have Shepherd in the middle, then it's a problem. So I want the Fever. I don't like backing the Fever after wins, but if Beckers is coming to town, Caitlin Clark will step up. 10 p.m. Eastern, our next spot on the board, Portland Fire 13-20, 5-10 on the road at the Seattle Storm, 7-28, 5-11 homer, Climate Pledge Arena in Seattle, Washington. Look, we all saw the Portland Fire get us paid and have this massive, massive comeback against the Lynx, just like the Liberty taking their foot off the gas pedal tonight against the Sparks. We watched the Lynx do that same thing against Portland Fire and almost cost them. The Storm, I wish they weren't coming off that win. We had this. Oh, no, we didn't. I didn't have that. Was on Monday when I was so shook that I didn't make a bet on the game. AM says his line is Storm -3, and he says he wants the Fire +4 or the Storm -2. No, this is not members only now. We are not going members only when it comes to CFL and WNBA. We have other things in store for our members that we're releasing it all and unleashing it here in the beginning of September. So we're not doing that. So let's get into this. This total dropped from 181.5 to 180.5. And when it comes to the spread, the Seattle are sitting here at -2.5. Look, I don't want Seattle off of a win, but I want to fade the Fire after feeling so good about themselves. Let's take a look at the cash flow on both of these spots here. We have, oh shoot, isn't that right here? No, it's not. Okay, here, let's grab the cash flow. I think the cash flow is important here. So we have in that Indiana game, 67% of tickets, 62% of cash is on Indiana. We don't have cash flow information here for Seattle Portland. I think I wait on that one. Ron Crawford on Portland money line. There's no doubt about it that Portland is the better basketball team. Seattle just went into Portland and lost 193 6 days ago. In that game, Portland shot 52% from the field and 42% from three. And they won. And if Portland goes into Seattle and shoots 52% from field and 42% from three, they will win. I don't think they're going to shoot that well. I don't think they're going to shoot that well. The Portland, Ron saying Portland's won all 3 games by margin. I don't know, man. They won the first game by 5 points at home. They won the second game by 5 points on the road, and they won that last game by 7 points. I hear what you're saying, but I want the Storm in this spot. I don't want to be going against you on both these spots. I'm going to study them more, but it is and I'm not going to bet the Storm tonight. I really want to see what happens with the market. I want to see where the cash is. I expect the Portland Fire are going to be very, very public, but the Storm are coming off of a win. So I've got a lot of work to do. I've got a lot of work to do on this card. That is our show for Thursday, August. It's now Friday, August 14th. It's been a long one. Thank you guys so much for all of your support here. It means the world to me. AM, Ronnie Crawford, thank you guys. Swiggy on the 1s and 2s. Thank you for all of your hard work. Dewan, thank you for giving the great news that the Niners were coming back. Spooner, Mark Stastowski, Kike Martinez, Josh Witt, His Airness, Hino Ball, Man Bear Pig. Thank you guys so much. Let's go get this money. Let's lay the foundation for tomorrow's success and let this stuff marinate, and let's have another winning day tomorrow. On behalf of all of us, Pub Sports Radio, thank you guys. Now let's get this money. Leche. Hey, los bookmakers. Milk it.
It's easier to sleep in the black when you're losing your ass and feeling so. You know what to do. Tune in to Pub Sports Radio. Easier to sleep in the black. It's easier to sleep in the black. It's a roller coaster ride, you're gonna catch a bad beat. No problem, keep your head up and just bet the spreadsheet. It's easier to sleep in the black. It's easier to sleep in the black. All thanks to Jeff Slaughter, these shows have our backs. POD's always rolling, especially the stats. Easier to sleep in the black. It's easier to sleep in the black. We got Jimmy, Jose, Dabby and the fam, Dutch Wine Time, Spooner and OG Wham. So hit the like button, don't say that you can't. If If you know what's best, just put your money on tape.